Hey you guys, happy Friday. I am, look, wait a minute. Just like, wondering if the sound works because I can't see the screen, it's so bright. I think the sound just turned on. Screen is not as bright as I want it to be. I'm on Wilshire and Graham. I'm about to cross back up to Wilshire. It's just a really cool building right there. I think the mic is fine now. Let me know. Thank you, Carrie. I noticed it, I can't see the little screen on it so much, so I couldn't tell if it was completely turned on. So we're gonna walk down Wilshire. I started at Western. I took I don't even know what bus number. I just assumed it went something Crenshaw. Really fast, actually. I find that the buses that don't go maybe east to west, but like cross over Wilshire and that kind of stuff, run a little bit faster than the ones that go on like Santa Monica. And I haven't been on a Wilshire bus for a while. Just a real quick friendly reminder, you guys. Do not make any plans for July 18th. Wind. We got a fix for that. Oh, really, the sound. Okay. Fun stuff. It looks like the transmitter might need to be plugged in. So I really don't know how that happened. We definitely plugged it in last night. Hi, camera. Microphone is on now. All right. Hey. Happy Friday. We're on Wilshire. I'm going to clip this to my hat. Hey, Joe, let me know how the sound... There we go. Thank you. We're going to walk down Wilshire towards 8th and Fig. It's kind of interesting because you'll be able to see we really end at 7th a lot and 8th a lot because that's where I hop on the train. It'll be kind of interesting to head to there from a different direction. We're usually heading to there when we're downtown, so we're heading to there from the mid-Wilshire section. We're gonna walk by the Wiltern, which is coming up on the right. Subtle difference. I can definitely tell it's not right. It smells like a toilet right here. All right, let me know if that's any better. So I really want like a one-stop solution. Plug microphone in, microphone works. Don't need a transmitter, don't need a Bluetooth. I want a giant radio microphone to walk around with, like what says NBC on it like it's from the 40s. Hey, Mark. Free parking at the Wilshire Bridal Salon. I saw this on the way over there, little hopes. Not in blue. I'm not really sure what happened, Joseph. Maybe the transmitter wasn't plugged in all the way last night and decharged. I have a really bad habit a Minnesota habit of putting the after I take the microphone and the charger off, of just putting them away on. Oh my gosh, look who's playing, Janet Jackson. I'm just kidding. It's Nate Jackson's Super Funny World Tour 2025. I love the Wiltern. I like to dip into it, but people are getting a little respite from the shade. Hello, punished nomad. So it is relatively cool in Los Angeles compared to the rest of the country, or most of the rest of the country. I think it's probably like 77. As you could tell from my beginning mic fumble, pretty windy. Really nice breeze. Hey Duncan, actually, that's probably how I got my name, growing up with missing persons. And Dale Bosio. It's a really interesting interview with her and Billy Corrigan on his podcast. She's kind of legendary, especially in New England. She's the original. Seriously, if you don't know who missing persons are, don't know who Dale Bosio is, I would check out that interview. I really always loved her, because again, grew up in New England, but I didn't realize that she also had like a super California angle to her, and that she was, hey, back in the clay, like part of the Frank Zappa team, which I feel like gives them even more credibility as artists. Kind of, I feel like a little forgotten for as much influence they, and moreover, she had on the music industry. I remember when I lived in New Hampshire, I used to get music instruments all the time at this store called Daddy's Junkie Music. I would put a synthesizer on layaway. Layaway was my downfall. And pay it off over a month or two. And Terry Bosio, that was her husband, was actually, he was doing like a talk there. He was a drummer. He is a drummer. He was doing a talk there, and I was pretty upset because I couldn't get tickets. I wasn't really interested in his drumming, although he's a phenomenal drummer. I was more interested in seeing Dale Bosio, who wasn't going to be there. I really appreciate Smashing Pumpkins. I don't know if I was into them at the time, although I liked them, but I think I appreciate them in hindsight for not making shitty music in the 90s. Pardon my français. So many people did. I feel like sometimes even the music that I liked from the 90s that I go back and listen to isn't so good. Oh my god, a Juno. I always wanted a Juno, but 10 years later. My first layaway synthesizer was a Roland SH-101 complete with a handle on it. A monophonic synthesizer that had zero memory. I moved on to the Korg Poly 800. And then the Roland S10 sampling keyboard, a really lovely one, full weighted. And I think my last two synthesizers, one we currently have and never play, is a Moog Fatty, little Fatty. And then I can't remember what the other one is. And then I have a Theremin that I bought when they first came out because I thought I would teach myself how to play the theremin. I've used it 4 times. I have the little Fatty. I really wanted the synthesizer Moog synthesizer I wanted most was the one that Jay Dilla had, the Voyager with the touchpad. It had this touchpad, and I think a Roland synthesizer had it also, but it was a touchpad, and depending on how hard you pressed it, it would sort of react to the pressure, and it just makes the most delicious kind of synthesizer-y fat sounds. I love Jay Dilla. He made or gave us the best parts of 90s hip-hop were a gift from this guy's creativity. Like, his influence goes beyond that, but I love Jay Dilla. I don't even really play anymore. Joseph is the real musician in the house. I can't compete with that. I thought the cow said, please don't toke, as if you could take a hit off of it. I'm just standing in the shade. I really want to try this BCD tofu house, I've got to say. I feel like Joseph has gone before. Joseph, is that true? You and your brother went here, your bro? I just like the way it looks like kind of a 1960s pancake house or something. I also really love me some drum machines. I can't remember, I really don't generally like tofu, but there's a Japanese tofu that's like gooey, almost like the inside of burrata, except not as thick, that I really like. And then there's a really firm tofu that I really like. I just don't know the names of it, but like the medium firm, meh. I think I love tempeh more. I used to eat tempeh all the time. Tempeh is like, I just like have it, it's great with like, instead of like a potato patty or a shredded potato patty, hash brown, I think they call that in America. I think before, so you started with some really good synthesizers. Before that, um, I probably was really interested when I was a kid because my grandmother had an organ in her house, but the kind of organ with the bellows in it. So you had to pedal it to make the sound, and then you had to pull levers to make different types of noises. And then we had a really cheap ass Hammond organ in our house, which I loved playing as a kid. I want to dip off for a second, like just off of Wilshire Boulevard, a couple streets up towards Olympic. There are these really incredible apartment buildings like this one over here. I had a friend who lived in one. I can't even remember what street, but she lived like a couple, maybe closer to Washington. And her apartment, this was like 10 years ago, maybe even 16 years ago. Gosh, time really does fly, even when you're not always having fun. Anyway, she lived in one of these apartment buildings, and the apartment was incredible vintage coolness. She had two bathrooms, and in one of those two bathrooms, she literally had a beautifully tiled shower stall and a bathtub, a full bathtub. So we don't cross Wilshire too often, but we are probably going to start branching out. I really do want to make sure we get to most parts of LA. So this is the Piccadilly. I used to drive by this building when I first moved here and was going to the freeway, no, coming from the freeway, and I was like, I want to live here. No way. I just don't want to park over here. This is a really terrible little traffic spot. And right around the corner from Piccadilly, you've got a little less attractive Langham, but it's still a pretty remarkable building. So I think I might have put some stupid cross streets in my thing because this is 7th. I don't know what I was thinking. I started doing my thumbnails at home, like working on the picture, and then naming them like on the bus stop. I always wanted the Nord bass. I always thought those were kind of cool. And then what was that? Synthesizer, the one that has like rubbery keys that you kind of push on. If we've already talked about that, I'm super sorry. I'm gonna cross. I kind of remember eating at a restaurant right here at one time. Kind of weird. So I think the one cool thing about that building is it's got a sweet roof deck. Hopefully it's not too hot up there. Somewhere off of Wilshire, I'm going to find it not today. There's a little courtyard apartment building, or courtyard set of bungalows that are like flanked by glass towers. There are more people that refused to move. Kind of reminded me of the Jane House. So we're not even downtown, but this is really gives me downtown vibes. This area has huge swaths and pockets that have not quite been gentrified. And I say hooray. That means still mostly affordable. This area, we're heading towards Westlake, but I know that rents are going up. Of course, they are everywhere, unless you listen to the news when they say rents are going down. You know, Nine Inch Nails was so huge. I always found them to be like, it's not going to be a popular thing. I don't hate them, but I always found them to be like a more polished and commercial, like Front 242 or Ministry. But don't think too hard about Ministry, because that first kooky Yaz sounding pop album that they did kind of takes away their industrial credibility. Beautifully remodeled. All right, let's head back down to Wilshire. Let me get on the shady side of the street. I feel like in certain areas it's dropped a pinch. On this walk, there's a house that we see in Hollywood. It's a stunner for sure, like a little tiny craftsman, 2-bedroom craftsman driveway. Looks like a garage also. 4,000 bucks a month. It's been for rent for like, I think 2 months. We walked by it yesterday. I kind of want to call to see if the rent went down. The rent is never going to go down in anywhere I want to live, though. I feel like you always want to do a little better. You'll spend a little more, but you want to do a little better. So, in the past you would get a new apartment and you got a raise and you'd get a new apartment and you'd be paying $500 more, and this time you'd have a mini balcony or a washer and dryer or a dishwasher or a parking spot. And then the next apartment, you got a little yard, but now it's like the rents have been so crazy for so long, I feel like 10 years, that you literally make lateral moves if you're going to make a move, or a step down. So the places I feel like would be like a lateral move for me, like another courtyard apartment building with a bunch of kids and a pool outside my window, like I would just end up moving somewhere like that, possibly where the pool had been dug up, which I might prefer. So it's tricky. My rent is cheap because I've lived there for 10 years. I hate my apartment. I hate it strong. I dislike my apartment immensely at this point. I would love to move, but moving means paying another $1,000 if I want to move up. I don't see the purpose for a lateral move unless I got a job out of the area that I live in now and I want to be closer to work. That little peach over there, that little peach bump, that was the Brown Derby. They just painted it peach, so now it's kind of the Peach Derby. The entrance to the Ambassador Hotel, which they kind of kept, and then there's usually a little park here, which you can see. I think the last time we walked by, the park was kind of open. Hey, Mars. So there's the Gaylord. If you guys want a hat or a t-shirt, I got them in my merch shop, the Gaylord sign. HMS Bounty, also, it's like a kitsch, old, like newsroom restaurant where the prices are definitely from 1900s, 1999, cheap, good fries. Mark, where was the original Brown Derby? Was that on Hollywood or was that one? Because you would think that they would have kept the original Brown Derby dome. I've never been to the Boiling Crab, but I do. I think. I just we don't really explore over here too much. I think I've taken a walk over here once or twice streaming. There are really so many stories to tell about this part of town. It's a real urban neglect area, actually. The freeway kind of, we're going to walk through MacArthur Park. Not walk through MacArthur Park, but walk down Wilshire by MacArthur Park. Usually pretty crowded. It might be a little more empty than usual because of ice in town. It's really going to put a damper on a lot of people's lives. And I know that damper probably severely undercuts it, but there are a lot of people not going to work who pay taxes and buy things right now. These are a lovely row of buildings. Intercrew. It's a restaurant. I thought it was like the new Benetton. We always love to take a special kind of look at this church. There's something about it that I love and seems like it shouldn't be in America, right? It seems like an old European church. But also something about it reminds me of LA Noire. Hey, BD. It's a bummer because there was a time, definitely in the before times, not just before COVID, that we could have probably just like walked in there and taken a look at it. New nickname unlocked. There's Ralph's grocery store, originally. Ooh. That's for lease. I would live there. I never would have guessed that was a restaurant just looking at the ad or the mural, the photographic mural. It's really nice and cool and shady right here. I like just want to knock on the door and or hammer a proclamation on that door. That's proclamation worthy. There's so many, just like downtown LA, there are so many just unused buildings here. It's a major, beautiful little shopping district. I think I posted a video of what driving down this was like in the 1950s or 40s, and how kind of amazing it was. We're never going back to that though. Like, we don't shop like that anymore. Oh yeah, congratulations, Jeff and Lauren. They asked for Jeff Bezos and Lauren Sanchez. They asked for no one to bring gifts to their wedding. So I hope you didn't get them anything. They don't want any gifts. Believe it or not, we are still in Koreatown, or at the very edge of it. We are at Vermont. We're gonna cross. I'd never heard of that restaurant before. I'm gonna have to look it up. Look at that fancy chandelier. That's the kind of thing that looks great for the first 2 years and then it just gets caked with dirt and dust. Hey, there's a GameStop down here. You know we love Lucy. Maybe I need a Lucy emoji. I feel like she also has left quite an impression on Los Angeles. Actually, it could be a cartoonish Lucy emoji. I have a hard time doing emojis of real people because you just can't draw them, make them look real. As much as you guys might want to walk into Wilshire Park, I think I'm gonna just stick to Wilshire Boulevard. I mean, MacArthur Park. I have walked through it before. And I will walk through it again. I just don't want to provoke anybody with my camera. So here is Bullock's Wilshire, or Southwestern Law School. I have a book, a Taschen book called Los Angeles, and it has like pictures of this particular department store, the inside, and like the parties that they would throw in the back, like the fashion shows and the pool shows and like sexy 1940s and 50s people in bathing suits. I don't know why I said sexy, but let's stick with it. I mean, this was a pretty swanky area. The letter O that you see on the left is the Townhouse Hotel. I've seen pictures of this also, and it had Charlie Chaplin mentioned. We don't have a Charlie Chaplin emoji. Charlie Chaplin had something to do with that, hung out there. It had like the Zebra Cafe and then like a New England cafe or something. Where's that weather? It didn't show up. I think maybe every once in a while I need to reactivate it for some reason, but 74. I've stopped using that, so it's kind of off center now. Sorry about that. It's just an amazing department store, or an amazing building. I'm glad the law school, didn't rip it down, because it also is kind of pretty historical for Los Angeles to Bullocks, Wilshire. When I first moved here, I was working with people who were probably in their 50s or 60s, and when they would, old people love to tell you how it was. I kind of do on this channel as an old person now. And I would hear just lovely stories about Wilshire Boulevard in its heyday. This is like 20 years ago. And the park here, we have a similar park on my side of town, which is Echo Lake Park, with swan boats. And this park is just an area that's kind of missed out on urban renewal, which is, could be good or bad, It kind of, MacArthur Park was kind of, cut off. I gotta pass this guy because I'm gonna bump into another parking meter. So it was totally just this neighborhood, Westlake, totally like severed off and cut off from the rest of LA by the freeway. And then this park has had various nicknames. Needle Park. Before we actually hit MacArthur Park, we are going to hit a smaller park called Lafayette Park. But look at this grand hotel. And there's a beautiful church on the other side of MacArthur Park. This is just a really, really grand area that kind of took a nosedive after freeways were built and you couldn't really access it. A lot of people drive through it. A lot of people drive through it. It's just not a place to stop. I almost titled this, whatever I titled it, Not for Tourists. I think MacArthur Park has been a place to buy and do drugs since the 80s. Or late 80s and 90s. And it may be still a place to do that. So in my mind, this walk that we're taking right now, all the way to 7th, took 2 hours. It's not gonna take 2 hours. I'm gonna slow down. Hey, Brave Bull. But Brave Bull, if you need anything, let me know because I'm happy to check for you. You can get bootleg Marlboro cigarettes and bootleg snooze down here, but I'm not really sure what the Marlboros are made out of. This is also a terrible long crosswalk. Hoover Street. So this runs all the way to Santa Monica. So the street kind of turns up there, and Hoover goes right into East Hollywood. LA is kind of a grid that's been modified and set up and reset. And if a building didn't fit the grid, they would tear it down. This person's a weird driver. They would tear it down. I'm not really sure what that is, but it's fun art. Oh my gosh, I always forget about these couple blocks. We're not that close to MacArthur Park yet. I thought it really came right after Lafayette. I love the Bryson Hotel, our apartment complex. I'm gonna have the luck of the devil with these crosswalks today. All red lights. Oh my goodness, Clay is not copying me. We both get around. Sometimes I copy him. Sometimes I'm where he has been. And sometimes we're at the same place at the same time, although we don't run into each other. There's lots of voices in LA to watch. Also, I think Clay is really nice and he announces on the morning of when he's gonna stream. And I'm kind of last minute Larry. I want to cross here to just check out these buildings. You can see that church over there. This really was kind of a nice area. We will crisscross again when we get to MacArthur Park, which is now honestly just over that hill. I condensed a bunch of blocks. I really thought that church that I just pointed out was a lot closer to MacArthur Park. Or maybe there's another church I'm misremembering over there. I always love the sign for the Bryson. I just think it's a little nicer than the building, actually. But the Wilshire Royale, that slaps. Oh my gosh. Well, A lot of 4th of July celebrations have been canceled, and a lot of events are getting canceled because people are afraid they are just going to get swooped up by ice. So I know that at least, not that I'm going to any 4th of July celebrations, but I know at least 4 4th of July celebrations in the Los Angeles area were canceled by their city, respectively. So I think on 4th of July, which is next Friday, a week from today, I will live stream during the day. Joe has a show at night, so I have to like doggy sit. Um, there's the park, Wilshire. I think, you know, not getting, hey puppy, not getting sadly political here, but I don't know what I'm celebrating this 4th of July. Whew. I kind of, Wilshire is, Wilshire, I keep calling it Wilshire Park now. So the park is like split in two. The lake is split in two. It affords you some really beautiful views of downtown Los Angeles. It just isn't a super safe place to walk through. I'll be really honest with you. I usually am waxing poetic and have nothing but the best things to say about LA, especially on the live stream. Maybe on my members' videos I get a little saucier, and I think on the podcast we'll, show some of those warts, because it's good to talk about the great stuff, but not, and also accept that there's some bad stuff too. I feel like LA, and this is a kind of thought or piece I've been working on, LA is kind of a microcosm for the United States. Its history is a lot shorter and a lot more and a lot closer to us. Like this, where we're standing, was once part of Mexico, but not like 400 years ago. Like people's great grandparents or great great grandparents, 2 or 3 generations back. So, when the freeways were built, they kind of like just wrecked this park. There's the boathouse. There's the lake. Boathouse. Lake. Boathouse. Soccer field. Lake. So, in comparison to the last time I was here, it is empty. I would really challenge you, I can't remember what the video is titled, but to go back and look at the last time we walked down Wilshire Boulevard um, before this ice shit, and was pretty crowded. This is the general kind of feeling in neighborhoods of the city. I still felt like DTLA yesterday was pretty busy, but in my neighborhood I've noticed a lot less people. Cariopolis, I could probably walk 22 miles. I don't know if I could ride a bike, but we support it. The first time I ever had to go to a doctor here, I had, I don't know what, health insurance, but they sent me to a clinic on the other side of Wilshire Boulevard. I mean, I had only lived here for a couple months. After sitting down in the clinic and waiting my turn, and then getting to, I guess, a room, a lady came in selling tamales. It was a really surreal experience. But hey guys. Park is pretty empty. Oh, a little busier over there. Yeah, they're really lovely. So I'm gonna cross the street up here one more time. As much as I would love to head to Yoshinoya Alley, you can look that YouTube video up. I think we're gonna steer clear of that. There's a really famous deli down here that's supposed to have the best corned beef sandwiches. I think it's one block over. They're always threatening to close because it's a saucy little area. We want to let's walk down the block to the deli and then kind of go left. Oh my god, this is a double crosswalk. Oh golly, guy just fell off his skateboard. Like, flew off it. Oh. When it's hot, the smell is not. I'll tell you what that. I really hate being fenced onto the sidewalk. I'm not really... Oh, this must be from the... Actually, there's always fences down here. I was thinking it was from the protest, but... I also hate driving in the diamond lane. Because I feel like you're stuck. Building is the Sri Lanka Foundation. Probably a department store at one time. The chain link fence is like protecting the planter boxes, actually, it feels like. There's one further back by MacArthur Park that's always there, but I think these ones must be from the recent protests. Although people usually don't walk up Wilshire. The Bonnie Bray Street coming up, if you walk up it or down it a couple blocks, it's really like mid 20th century ungentrified neighborhoods, minus, you know, there's a little extra trash because this is, but it's just really cool, especially up that street. Bonnie Bray just seems like a really weird street name for Los Angeles. Bonnie Bray. I don't even think there was a Bonnie Bray in Massachusetts, which seems more fitting. Thank you, Entertainment Rocks. I think Donald Trump is doing a pretty good job of keeping the street vendors out off the street. What would I name it besides Bonnie Bray? I wonder what the history of it being called Bonnie Bray is, though. I would imagine that a sea captain once lived there with his young daughter Bonnie Bray. One stormy evening, the sea captain and Bonnie Bray had set sail for Catalina Island or some such place, and a giant wave came over the ship, and Bonnie Bray was lost. Perfect. That's much better than my story. There is a ghost story like that I just pulled from about New Hampshire. Growing up, when you get the substitute teacher, there was always that substitute teacher that everybody loved because they wouldn't make you do schoolwork. Ours was Mrs. Hamilton. She would tell us the story about Ocean-born Mary in Henniker, New Hampshire. You can look it up. But when you're like a fourth grader, that skit is scary. Especially pre-internet fourth grader. A fourth grader now is like a 20-year-old. I'm kidding. Hello, Roy. Welcome, welcome. Mrs. Hamilton, I couldn't be 100% sure, but in my mind's eye, she looked like a better version of the mom from that 70s show, like that kind of flip, Dorothy Hamill-esque haircut. Mrs. Hamilton also, like, the best part of the story was Mrs. Hamilton also had a story of her going to Ocean-born Mary's house. The house of Ocean-born Mary, that's the story. You want to look it up. I think I just walked through some stinky liquid. All right, we are coming up on downtown LA. It has only taken me an hour to walk here from Western. Her voice wasn't as nasally, Mrs. Hamilton. I want to take a second to thank my members. I really appreciate your support. I really love making stuff for you guys to watch. Any suggestions or compliments for member compliments? I didn't mean to say compliments. Concerns, requests for that member content? Please drop a comment under one of those members' videos. I'm happy to explore, research, go to within reason, and talk about Los Angeles and the surrounding area. So it's funny what the memory does to you, actually, you know, or how you remember things. So I imagine Mrs. Hamilton as part that mother from the 70s show, and then part Phyllis from Mary Tyler Moore. Is that also your type, Brave Bull? Phyllis was the shit. Yeah, Mrs. Hamilton was definitely probably in her 20s, but I think, like, just knowing what I know, she was probably in her 20s, but she would look like she was in her 40s. Remember the teacher's lounge? Like, I feel like the way, especially the first few seasons of The Simpsons, the way The Simpsons captured, like, the goings on at a grammar school was like pitch perfect. The smoky teacher's lounge. The way the teachers were, actually, I remember teachers being exactly like Mrs. Krabappel. I'm not sure where LA Fire Station is, but there is a very old fire station at the end of this street, if that's what you're referring to. So the last time I walked by this bike shop, these guys laughed at me. They're not out today. I'm gonna do a plug-in. A Glade plug-in. But hey, Kat, we can find it and go sometime for sure. This is definitely a remnant kind of clapboard and shingled house. I wonder if somebody lives there. Got a nice driveway. Would I live down here? I don't think so. I shouldn't say that I wouldn't live down here, because if the price was right, there used to be a gas station right here, I feel like. So sometimes when I would work late in Beverly Hills, I couldn't take the train home because the commuter trains stop at 10 for some reason, the Metrolink. And so I would have to wait for like this really weird bus. We'll probably see one of those buses. It drove me all the way to Montclair or Claremont. I can't remember which. I don't condone Monster Energy drink. It will change the rhythm of your heart. Not for good. That's what I was thinking. Did I make the joke about Glade plugins, or I could have used a Glade plugin a couple times. Maybe that wasn't where the gas station was. I feel like it was up a block. I think that's the Sisters Hospital. No, I'll just take that song out later and replace it with Who Let the Dogs Out. That's what I do. So you always want to join these live streams when they're live, otherwise you get Who Let the Dogs Out. I actually thought about that gas station when I was on my way down here today, remembering how kind of stupid I was. Waiting at this gas station. Neiman Marcus back. Yeah, that hospital is huge. Oh, it's the PIH Health. It might still be in use, but from the back it looks abandoned. Half the windows on the top floor are like boarded up or broken. So we often cross Wilshire downtown. This is where it connects to everything. So basically, I just got to Wilshire and Western and walked left and kept walking and kept walking. And here we are in DTLA. Almost. I've driven down Wilshire this way too. It mostly would not be my choice of a way to get downtown from where I live, but Wilshire Boulevard goes all the way to Beverly Hills and then beyond. I think it goes all the way to Santa Monica. I could be wrong, but it goes all the way out there. So I've taken it from Beverly Hills to get on Bixel over here to get onto the freeway. Or I've gotten off whatever exit gets you off at Bixel also. Hey, Indy. Indy is on delivery, BT Dubs. Hey, Kat. I am probably going to walk. We talk about going to Sherman Oaks all the time. I'm probably going to check the weather report for next week. And if it's not a scorcher, because it's always hotter in the valley, we'll be going to Sherman Oaks. I have like 4 seconds to cross, but I'm gonna take my chances here. I probably would have gotten to the valley by now more than I have been. However, when I started this on January 7th, I actually started a couple days before January 7th, but on January 7th, we had terrible fires. I had made a commitment on January 1st to live stream every day of the month in January. I think I missed one day. But I really stuck around the Hollywood area where I live because the fires made me paranoid. But with that being said, I definitely want to go to the valley before we get too far into July or August. The valley is always a sizzler. I don't know how that lady does it. 2 dogs and 2 children. I can barely walk down the street. Oh, BD, I'm really sorry. I might have missed it. It's probably an apartment building. I'm now in the shade and I can read my screen again. Yeah, the wildfire kind of kept me in the neighborhood. I really was interested in showing people what was going on and showing people the city at the same time. I feel this is really like Grand Theft Auto. This reminds me of GTA. I hate this freeway more than anything you can imagine. You know, BD, I was thinking that taking this walk, even though it's not really for tourists, parts of it, I would say, it kind of gives you guys who are always watching, and thank you so much, just a better sense of LA. I mean, we cross, there's the one Wilshire building, we walk by it all the time. So you are gonna know LA like a native. The one thing I would always love to do, except slightly paranoid, is I would love to have a map showing where I was. I just don't want me to accidentally say something that, well, I wouldn't be saying it on accident, but say something that someone just that doesn't jive with somebody politically, and then to unalive me, if you know what I mean. Look at that little sliver of a building. Not to be confused with the building from Sliver, because it's not that cool. This is where I waited for an Uber, or Waymo, no, an Uber, the other, one of the time we came down here for the, one of the times we came down here during the, actually the night that the subways got shut off during the protests, we had to take an Uber from right here. You know, I saw Walk in the Clay at the music center yesterday, actually. I think I said hi and talked in the chat, but my phone was like on 1%. I never let my phone get to 1%, by the way. I'm way too crazy. But yesterday, after streaming and coming home, I forgot to plug it in and it was at 1%. So Kit, if you are still here, and I hope you are, here is fire station or engine station number 28. I can't remember who told me about the bar at the top of the Intercontinental or the platform. I have to say, I just really hate heights. I'll think about it. So the Wilshire building over here also is supposed to have a platform, somebody told me. It's funny because once I get down here, I always lose the Wilshire building until I'm right upon it. Oh, there it is at the end. pretty remarkable 360. Sorry, I'm standing in the middle of the sidewalk and that's no good. We're usually on that street. We love the Last Bookstore. We've gone in a couple times. We always go in and then lose our signal because the walls are so thick. I am coming to you on the T-Mobile network, and despite what the commercials say, I don't think it's the best. The best experience that we have actually is when we combine two different cell carriers, which is something I will endeavor to do in the future so we can like get further out and further into the canyons and up the hills. I would love to get to take a hike, and the only place I can think of hiking where we would have a signal is like the Berlin Forest, because it's brought to us by our sister city, Berlin. That's Berlin, Germany, not Berlin, New Hampshire, and AT&T. So it's a completely wired forest, as if anybody needs that. But we do for the live stream, so I'll embrace it. There are actually like books inside of the bank vault. You know, I know we love bookstores, we do. I could come down here at some time and end the stream, then go in there and then put it back, put a members up so we could see inside there. I think I might do that at some point. Next time we're downtown, if you feel like I'm ending near the Last Bookstore, there's a purpose. Anyway, let's continue to roll around down here a little bit. Yeah, you can. My phone does have satellite texting, which is really awesome. I just don't think I can live stream through the satellite. I did see one New York streamer that was carrying the, kind of heartbreaking, carrying whatever that Starlink thing on his back. I have a backpack with an empty case in it for my gimbal, and my back is so sweaty carrying 3 ounces. I can't imagine having to carry a Starlink. Also, I really am not a Musk fan, so I really would not want to give any more money to them. So let's walk by the Last Bookstore. I can walk in, we're just gonna have to walk out if we get too deep. But I have to tell you, it's really cool. Look, it's Joey DTLA. It's really cool, and so it's kind of a teaser you're gonna get, but let's do it. Last time they let me walk in, no problem. This time they'll probably let me walk in, no problem. So there are a couple New York streamers. I can't remember. This is not like there's like a woman and man, like a couple. Yo Ange. There's the Kuma Monster, who's back from Europe. And then this is a guy who also gives like, I feel like he's a stockbroker or something. Or an investor, and this is like his side gig is just to live stream when he walks to or from work, but he was using a Starlink. Also, I don't want to carry, how much is a Starlink? That's it, Wall Street guy is who I'm talking about. He had a Starlink. I just can't, like, if anybody else made it, first of all, I don't make enough money for YouTube to afford a Starlink. I don't know really what it costs. You don't really make enough to afford like a second phone line, which I would love to have. So I think Starlink, first of all, is kind of out of my price range at this point. Who knows what will happen? Second of all, I really would not want to give money to Elon Musk. And I know we like kind of shy away from political stuff, but I feel pretty strongly about that. Hey, Mary. That's exactly why I wouldn't get it. I love the technology. I love the idea of that. I was up in the Sierras at Christmas time, and you know T-Mobile has no signal up there. And guess what? I was able to send texts via satellite, which is really nice. Hey Mary, are you guys having 4th of July celebrations or anything get canceled out there by you? We were talking about that a little bit earlier. I know that 4 cities have canceled it. I just can't remember which 4 they were. How much does the Starlink weigh? I love the idea of rucking, which is, walking around with a weighted backpack. In fact, some days I think about plopping a brick into my backpack. This Dubai stuff is everywhere. I love pistachio. I had a Dubai ice cream last week or the week before. No food coloring for me for a couple days though. So no chocolate and black horchata, as much as I would love it. Oh, that's really nice. I don't need like a dish, I need something that's mobile. Hey, Duncan. And so, I think if I had an RV and I were living like on the road, I might have to make that exception. I don't know if there is an alternative to the Starlink. Like, what did RV people use before Starlink? And I think my phone is $89 a month unlimited text, unlimited data until I get to like 50 whatevers, and then they will throttle me, or they threaten to throttle me, and they really don't. Whew. You'll be proud of me. I remembered to put deodorant on today. I used to be obsessed with CB radios, actually. Back when I was like 13 or 14, I think one of my friends had, a lot of people actually had CBs in their houses. We did not. One of my friends had a CB radio, in their house, and we would talk to the truckers in different voices and pretend we were ladies or something, or it was kind of fun. It's kind of like AOL chat rooms before those existed. There's St. Vincent Court. We're almost never directly across the street from it. Kind of usually just walk in. I didn't walk by Eleanor's today. I still want to see if that place, when that place is going to open. I'm dying for a Dutch sandwich. Hey, if you are here for the first time, welcome, welcome. Please feel free. Definitely a little busier than yesterday. Please feel free to like, sub, and chat. It helps us with the algorithm. And yeah, it's all about getting the lives in front of peepers. What time is it? It is lunch hour, 12:37. We should walk up towards the music center and see if all those food trucks are out. I ate right before I left. That way I wouldn't get hangry and cranky and hate people that drove through crosswalks when they shouldn't. We can take a look at what the Grand Market looks like at lunch hour. See, if I hadn't eaten a sandwich, I would have been pretty mad that that guy almost hit that guy going through a full red light. But I'm okay. Thanks, peanut butter and jelly. Banana. I grew up with the Burlington Coat Factory before it was like a TJ Maxx or Ross Dress for Less. I recently went into, they put there's a Burlington Coat Factory in Hollywood. And I went in, just to check it out. It's at the old Bed Bath & Beyond. And I don't know that I would buy any clothes there, not saying anything, but usually clothes from there don't fit me right. I have a weird body. But they had like a ton of like Neutrogena skin cleaning stuff, which I use for like $5.99. How's it going? The music center is right at the top of Gloria Molina Park. So it's the park that is in front of City Hall. It's like just past the Disney concert hall. I think we're gonna just walk towards that direction. I know we were just downtown yesterday, so I'll try to wiggle off of the street and check out the next one. I remember yesterday there was a security guard standing out there. I think it's called, there are a couple buildings up there. Dorothy Chandler Pavilion, the Geffen Playhouse, and I think the Dorothy Chandler Pavilion is also called the Music Center. I could be wrong. All right, let's take a left here. We're gonna end up at Pershing Square. I'm literally obsessed with Pershing Square right now. We're not going in it today, but so on Sundays downtown, hey, how are you doing? Have a powerful day. That's pretty great advice. I appreciate that. I feel like I've... Yeah, isn't that crazy? I feel like I heard that on some gossip thing like a week ago or something. Sorry, I'll try to get out of the way. That's got to be hard. Growing up, having your parent be a celebrity and pass in the way that she passed. The husband or the boyfriend, the Hargitay, we've walked by his plant shop in Hollywood. It's on like Fountain and La Brea. So the man, Hargitay, was like a bodybuilder, I think. And there's a plant shop called Hargitay's. And when I say plant shop, it's not like where Janet worked on Three's Company. It's like a big, like Home Depot, crazy plant shop. They're really, really, really rude there. I used to live there. Not at the plant shop, but near there. And when I first moved here, I got plants there, and they were kind of dickish. I doubt it was Mickey Hargitay, that's his name. Also, I feel like Jane Mansfield was... There were a couple of actresses that were just like Marilyn Monroe. Oh my gosh, poor little old lady. Marilyn Monroe wannabes. Mamie Van Doren. There was another blonde of that time that was also kind of like those. Maybe it was Mamie Van Doren, but Jane Mansfield and this other blonde woman were kind of just like different versions of Marilyn, who was, of course, a different version of what's-her-face. Kind of Mae West, but not Mae West. She passed away early, also. She had a grapefruit squished in her face by James Cagney. I can't remember that actress. She's from the 30s, like the first blonde bombshell. Jean Harlow, that's what her name was. Jane Mansfield's house, until very recently, was still up. And there are a lot of people, there are a couple guys that do videos going to their house and showing the wall and showing where the heart-shaped hot tub or pool used to be. She had one really great movie, like the first movie that she did. And I feel like, I can't remember the name of it. I feel like also there was a movie I saw with Melanie Griffith called Milk Money. And I only remember that because the poster, when I lived in Boston, the train would drive right by it. So I feel like she was kind of playing that same ditzy blonde character. Beverly Hills area or Bel Air. We're usually on the same side of the street as this building. I believe. Huh? Yeah. Where's, huh? No, walking in LA. Different guy. Thank you. This was maybe at one time, not maybe at one time, but this was the transit center. Kind of looks like it. I have no idea what guy who he asked me if I was, by the way. Like Darren? All right, Grand Market is next block up. Let's cut through that, and I'm gonna walk back in the other direction, get some more downtown vibes, and then I'm gonna hop on the train in a little bit. Maybe walk around for 40 more minutes. No, a lot of these buildings are unoccupied. I remember when I first moved here 20 something years ago, 22 years ago, downtown had a lot of issues with vacancy. I can't remember what the vacancy rent rate was, but I remember hearing about that a few times. And honestly, do we really need these huge office buildings anymore? I guarantee AECOM is not full. We'll probably get an office in that building. I'm gonna dip back down to Broadway, and then I'm gonna just cross over it to the next street and take a left. Or take a right. Sometimes when you look in these office windows, you'll see, it smells like Axe body spray. You'll see like, it just looked like somebody left their office. You'll see boxes in the window. I kind of wonder when and why or how they left it and what's in those boxes. Not that building though, that's too new. Oh, Grand Market. Let's go up to Grand Market. Looks like they're filming something up here. Always fun. Probably a commercial for a car or Chuckles Candy. Chuckles Candy needs a comeback. I really want to bring my knives down here to get sharpened. I just think I would not want to have knives on the train with me. Because I love that fact that that store was established in 1930. Probably not at that location though. It looked like it was a record store. They're pretty crowded today. I'll walk through this real slow for Brave Bull. I know it wasn't on our agenda today, but Chuckles, it was like really old, but they were like jellies. And there are like 4 or 5 different flavors. Like an orange jelly, a lemon jelly. Oh, some glass tiles down there. There's our cookie place. No cookies. I think if I worked down here, this might be the last place I'd come for lunch because it's so busy. There's a sign on the subway promoting the market down here, and it's the only sign that's left is this Via's Tacos sign. The rest of them have changed. Ooh, Teddy's Tiny Bites. I didn't really know that you could get merchandise. It's barely air conditioned. So there are ceiling fans. Yesterday when I came in here, it was a cooler day, but it was so much hotter. Giant ceiling fans. I would not want to be under that if it fell. There's Angel's Flight. We're not getting on that today because look at the line. Here we'll go. We'll carry on. So there's the 3rd Street Tunnel, which we've walked through. There's Angel's Flight. The Angel's Flight used to be here, and they moved it. And there's also another railway that I never heard about till recently, doing research on Pershing Square. There's like another Angel's Flight that used to be further down that you could still see the remnants of. Which I don't know if you can still see the remnants of. I don't know how old what I was reading was. It could have been from the 70s. That's the weird thing about the internet. You sometimes pull up articles or information that's from 5 or 10 or 15 years ago. It's usually when I'm looking for an event that I'll pull up the event page from like last year or the year before. And it isn't until like I try to buy a ticket or I realize that it's the wrong date. They moved it. I don't know why they moved it, actually. I just know that they did. There's our good old friend, the Bradbury Building. It's funny, but before I'd ever been to the Bradbury Building downtown, and been inside. I always imagined that it was some other location in DTLA, like closer to City Hall for some reason. So I'm not actually going to walk up to the music center because I'm roasting alive. I'm going to walk. It's also the opposite direction that I want to go in, but we will go there, I'm sure, soon. And we've been there before. Yeah, this street is amazing. I am working on a story about this street in like the 40s for my podcast, my Patreon podcast. And the whole reason I'm doing that is because a lot of the times when we're walking and talking history, and I really can't dig quite deep enough into the topic. I can't say the D word. I get scared if I drop an F-bomb. I want to be able to tell some of those really awesome stories that we don't have time or the space to really talk about. You know, I never would have walked into the Bradbury. I think you, BD, were the person that said walk in. Or the person that coaxed me into doing it. A lot of the pictures that I have from the video I put up about the Bank of America Tower Garden this week actually are from the top of the hill of this street when Bunker Hill was there. I kind of recognize the buildings they didn't tear down, like the theater on the corner. Oh, I just started walking towards City Hall. Right down there is the Liberty Theater sliver. So this street used to curve, and they cut it over there. And that white building that you see over there is called the Liberty Theater. Just a sliver of it remains. Also, that building was in, I forget that movie. You know, Harrison Ford, Blade Runner. Also, it's supposed to be haunted. Okay, I feel like the security guard. I'm gonna go whatever way that guy doesn't go because I think my camera's perturbing him. Anyway, so let's head this way. And it's a really cool building, actually. I think we talked a little bit about the history of that building on a haunted walk, one of the first like history walks we did downtown, where we spoke about tunnels and ghosts. You would never know from the outside of that building how incredibly, although the outside is special too, just how special that building is. It's kind of like hidden in there. That atrium is remarkable looking. And I just look when I go into that building and I think like how amazing it must have been in its full glory when it had all of the offices and all of the spaces filled inside of it. Kind of feel the same way when I go to Union Station and there's lots of empty corridors and restaurants. Like, how exciting it must have been there. It must have it must have been, I'm practicing my podcast voice, have been to be there when it was new and exciting. Hey Cecilia, happy Friday. I know you're off today. Or I think you're off today. I think you said you were off today. You kind of missed the Wilshire part. We just ended up downtown, so I'm putzing around down here, walking back to my train station. You know, Cecilia, I love tchotchkes and pillows, and I really resist myself all the time. I just don't want to collect any more stuff or have any more stuff to put in a closet. Also, I'm done with dusting. Well, I'll never be done with dusting, but I just want less stuff to have to dust. The Rowan Building. There's the back of the Rosslyn Hotel sign. I need a new comforter. I really love a down comforter though. But I hate putting it in a duvet, so I think my next comforter is just going to be a blanket, like a pick stitch blanket that looks like a quilt or something like that. I love linens and dishes. I also love kitchen stuff. I don't use like a third of the dishes that I own though. Or pots and pans either. I have a Cuisinart I never use. A stand mixer, when I say never, I mean like once a year. So the point of the duvet is you don't ever wash we're at the Last Bookstore. You don't ever wash like your comforter as frequently as you do wash your sheet. So the duvet is almost like a cover for your comforter. So most of the time I wash the duvet and then I fold it up and don't put it, and then I throw it over the comforter if someone's coming in. I'm gonna walk in the Last Bookstore because I love you guys and I know you want to see it. Just know that we'll cut out, and I'll have to cut out of there, especially when we get closer to the vault. So over there's Pershing Square Park again. I went the long way to the bookstore. Also, I'm going to be really quiet because it's a bookstore. So, we can't go in too far.
Backpacks, please.
It's not empty backpack, thank you. I didn't have to do that last time. So tell me if you want anything. I get dog stuff from Marshalls all the time. I think this is the vault, or a vault, or something. Or it's tin ceiling. You know, I try to read. I have to fix my battery. Hold on for 1 second. So I want to go upstairs, but we're going to lose whatever signal we have because of the walls. I'm actually physically holding the gimbal. Bear with. Oh, there we go. All right, I'm gonna walk as far as I can. There's a whole second floor, and that's where you see most of those Instagram pictures. Oh, that's the vault. This is the signal killer, but we'll just take a look inside. Hey, Wilson. I don't think we even made it in here last time. Huh. I forget how you get upstairs. You know, the chaos and the protests were just kind of limited to one area of town. There's no doubt that there is still something happening down there, and it should be. But I don't think they were ever as bad as they looked on the news. Oh, a record section. I didn't even know they had records. All right. Okay, I'll try to go upstairs. And this stairway, as soon as it goes down to 100, though, I'm gonna back out of it like a cat in a cat door. This looks like the information desk from Desk Set. All right. Walmart. Somebody in my neighborhood has a bumper sticker that says you can't have Walmart without a Walm. No doubt they're pretty smart. This is worth a trip downtown, Mary, especially if you love books. Little cafe. Find out what time it is in Detroit. Pretty awesome. Pretty lucky to have this down here. We're in the beyond Star Trek. I feel like I'm in like some weird office, you know. I think you guys recognize this thing. Everybody's favorite Instagram. The ceiling is amazing. Wooden, carved, not tin. The first floor has tin ceilings, actually. Or one of the rooms does. This kind of reminds me of the Magic Castle in a way. The Danger Room. Look at that marble. What is this vault? So this is all like marble or tile, like subway tile. It's a vault. I actually would love a house that had this much crap in it, but again, dusting. So yeah, those are the original ceilings. I don't know if the sort of Greek key pattern has always been part of it, but pretty amazing. I'm afraid of heights, hence no chandelier swinging. All right, let's get our signal back. Look, marionettes. Wow, that was an amazing signal, actually. Here I am. Look, it's me. I think it's a must-see if you're a book lover or even a book liker. I almost feel like leaving my backpack here so my back doesn't sweat anymore. Thank you so much. A sweaty, empty backpack somewhere.
You doing YouTube?
Yeah.
YouTube?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
I just wanted to, last time I couldn't get a signal past the door. Today I'm hot flying high. Thank you so much. I'm not really flying high. I say weird things sometimes when I make small talk with people to try to sound, I'm flying high. Who says that? It is almost like the amoeba of bookstores because it has records, but also it has so many used books in there. And a coffee shop. And it feels like you could just grab a book, sit down on one of those leather library sofas and read. We can't get away from Broadway, but we're gonna go left on Broadway. We're gonna go left on Broadway because we already walked by Pershing a bunch of times. Actually, let's go straight and then go by the hotel. Still gets me back to my train station. Doesn't it just look hot? Like a hot city? It really isn't as hot as it looks. I just love that Mary. I just love the quirkiness of it, and that there's like little tiny treasures, little things to look at. How are you? And something to look at almost everywhere you look in that store. Do you remember when at Tower Records they used to have, like, the posters used to be hand done in the store, like using foam core and photographs or whatever, but they were like hand done for a long time. Maybe I'm remembering another record store, but I'm pretty sure it was Tower Records. I have like I sort of change decor style every once in a while, and but like that kind of reminds me of a way I would decorate before, where I love books. I don't really read that much, but I do love me some books. And just having them on the floor and everywhere I kind of love, but that's only really cool in a pictorial. You know, this area, Roy, we walked through it earlier. It's Pershing Square. It's a kind of a, what do we say on YouTube? Unalive park. It's a cement block. It used to be pretty lush. And green, and then I think sometime in the late 50s they built a nine-story parking garage below it. And then in the 90s, once they built the parking garage, they had to move the trees because their roots could only go so far down. So it went from being like a green, lush, small little central park. It was called Central Park before 1918. And beautiful. I love seeing old pictures of it from the 40s. However, it was a very crime-ridden area. And the crime, I've talked about this before, probably really was a lot of arrests of gay people and not like gangster stuff, because this was part of, I forget what it was called, but it's the library, the Pershing Square before my time, and then another building were all on something called the Run. And it was like a place gay people would congregate back before it was legal. And so if somebody would have been arrested in this park for coming onto an undercover cop, crime-ridden. And those are the kind of crimes they didn't specifically mention the crimes, but those were the crimes that made this area crime-ridden. And now, I'll just walk in the middle of it one more time. Who the hell in their right mind would want to come here on a sunny spring or summer day? It is just 20 degrees hotter where I'm standing than the sidewalk. When my YouTube channel gets bigger, I'm going to petition for them to change this park. People should enjoy some shade. No, it's almost like, I think they wanted it to be like a event space too. But the thing is, there's not an event going on every day. Like, people want to have a park in their neighborhood where they can walk their dog. It does have a dog run, by the way. It's not a very nice dog run, but it does have a dog run. They want a place where they can sit, chill, read a book that they just got 2 blocks down from the Last Bookstore, or have a lunch. And I don't think that's the park to do it. This reddish brick building was in Ghostbusters, actually. It's the hotel in the original Ghostbusters, although they covered the sign to make it look like New York's the Millennium Biltmore Hotel. I always feel like words like Biltmore and Fillmore are more San Francisco, probably because of Fillmore. I've walked into the Roosevelt many, many times. You can pretty much go in the Roosevelt. I have never walked into here. We might save that for another day. Chicago, I kind of love Chicago, and I used to visit Chicago a lot, probably a couple times a year. And my impressionation, my like mind's eye, Chicago looks like it looked on the Bob Newhart show that I was watching as a rerun when I was growing up. The original Bob Newhart show, not the one in Vermont, which, you know, I watched also. I really want to, I've never driven to San Francisco. I've had to go to San Francisco a couple times for work, but I really want to go, and I really want to see the Winchester Mansion, probably since I saw it on That's Incredible when I was a kid. I think Eleanor's is probably here. Still not open. The funny thing about that Biltmore is I don't know what sustains that hotel down here, because it is a heritage hotel, luxury hotel. We looked up the rooms, I remember, a while ago, because we always talk about going somewhere. I mean, on this live stream, and I think like a non-deluxe room was only $269, so expensive, but not that expensive. I could be getting it confused with the Roosevelt also. That's really funny, that Kool and the Gang throwback. They're always doing stuff like that in Pershing Square. I think it was like a Latin freestyle that I got a text message invite to last summer in Pershing Square. I did go last summer to the Broadway night lights because it was at nighttime, and it was great to see all the lights on Broadway lit up. I hope they do that again this year, but Kevin De Leon was the person for this district, not congressman. I almost said congressman. Anyway, and he got voted out. I love the way that camera photographs things, but I actually have to tell you, I prefer using my iPhone to the 4K camera. The 4K camera, oops, sorry. 4K camera does some weird stuff. Also, it's kind of hard to see the screen. And then every once in a while, the gimbal portion will like flip back and I'll be filming myself for a couple seconds.
It's slow going, but we just the engineer just finished his drawing.
The theater, well, so at the top of Grand Avenue is a bunch of the new theaters. there's not like a theater district in, like you'll see in New York, or maybe even in Chicago. So we've got the Dorothy Chandler Pavilion, the Music Center, that might be the same building, and then the Mark S. Taper Auditorium is also up there. So there's a bunch of places up there that you can see plays or a music show. But not like Broadway, or not like even our Broadway, which we don't really use anymore and was for movie theaters. Mann's Chinese Theater is in Hollywood. And so in Hollywood, we were there yesterday, looking for Fluffy. Mann's Theater is across from El Capitan Theater, and then there's also the Egyptian Theater on Hollywood Boulevard. Subway smells so good. It's like the herb bread. There's the Egyptian Theater. There's also a ton of little tiny old movie theaters on Hollywood Boulevard, but it's really more movie theaters. These are like huge theaters, also for movies, but I believe some of them had stages inside of them also. Well, actually, I know they do. Because during the Broadway night lights, I actually walk into some of the theaters because they're all open. I forgot about that. Where? It's an interesting little outdoor spot. Is that Fred Hayman? That yellow umbrella? I kind of love Subway. I like a Veggie Delight, oil and vinegar and mayonnaise. Or a meatball sub. Except last time I went to Subway with Joseph, actually. We went in there and it wasn't like Beverly Hills Subway. There is a Subway in Beverly Hills. It was like in Little Armenia, Koreatown, not a very nice plaza. 2 subs would have been like, 1 sub with a soda was like $16. It was only a meatball sub with spinach. No avocado, no bacon. So instead of getting 2 footlongs, we ended up splitting a meatball sub. Really sad day. Really sad indeed. You know, I'm not sure what's for dinner. We did end up eating tacos last night, asada tacos. I thought I was gonna make a salad, so I think I might slide the salad to tonight. Some type of, so I'm gonna make quinoa with vegetables, and that'll be like the healthy part, well, the mostly healthy part. I'm gonna get some kind of salad mix, or actually, I'm probably just gonna, I have a ton of romaine, so I'll probably use the romaine. Also, Joseph doesn't like buying salad bags anymore. They're dangerous, I hear. So we'll probably just chop up some greens and cook a little chicken or some kind of protein. I'm really sick of eating chicken, I gotta tell you. I know I don't eat fish. Oh yeah, for Lent. I actually like the tuna fish at Subway. It's mostly the mayonnaise. I made chicken salad sandwiches yesterday. I love also chicken salad. Wasn't my best chicken salad. I love how those people just walked across the street before they should have, and I'm staying here. I missed out on what's dangerous. I only like a fish taco, sorry. I only like a fish taco if it's, the fish is batter fried and it's cod. There you go. I didn't like the fish taco from Long John Silver's. That was greasy. You know, a really nice vegan taco is just saute onions and peppers. Put them in the taco. Mushrooms also, if you like them. It's really, really good with a little hot sauce. I used to get veggie or vegan tacos all the time. The trick is the sauteed vegetables. All right. That's the way to be. See what speaks to you. That way you're not eating leftovers, and you always have a, oh no, thank you. You always have an opportunity to change your mind at the last minute. The Jollibee smells so good, I have to say. But I didn't come, it smells like old school Kentucky Fried Chicken. All right. Look, it's Joey DTLA. Ooh, I also love potato tacos. We get those from Taco Bell. You guys, I am all done for today. We may live stream tomorrow. I'm trying to convince Joe to go somewhere unusual. We'll see if he does. I want to thank all of my members for being members and actually supporting me in my little creative endeavors. It means a lot to me. I appreciate it. Every once in a while, your name will end up there for another day or two. That's probably because I missed it for another day or two. But thank you guys so much. I really appreciate that. I am going to, thanks Roy, I am going to head out, go home. I think I might get a water before I hop on the train. Have a really awesome Friday night. I will see you soon. And Roy, thanks for joining. Roy also streams a ton. Much more beautiful scenery up there in San Francisco. I feel like you're always at a gorgeous beach. Have a good Friday night, you guys, and I will see you tomorrow, or definitely Sunday. Hey, Simply Sonora, you are so welcome. Hey, Munch, bye. Thank you so much.